Hello, I'm TheZOMBIEJ, and well, we've got a couple of Lego Marvel sets to take a look at here on Brickset, because that's usually where I go to look up information on Lego sets. Simple information, but So, in this video also will be concerning the future of the buildable construction figure sort of system. So, starting off with the Iron Man Mark III Collector's Edition. Collector's Edition, my dick. Yeah, this looks quite impressive. Get out of here. Die. Thank you. This looks quite impressive as like an improvement over the Iron Man construction figure that we got. It's over there with the Toa Nuva. There's a lot more accurate to the source material, but at the same time, I have problems with this, and the problem lies in the helmet mask thing. Because you got these two protrusion things, and then there's like a gap in between the two protrusion things on the forehead. This is inaccurate to the source material. Now, obviously, since it's Lego, it's not going to be completely 100% accurate to the actual, suit in the movies. It never will be that way, because Lego can be incompetent sometimes. Yeah, I'm saying that. But this comes with a minifig, so I guess that saves the set, maybe? I don't think so. The color scheme is obviously, the same as usual for Iron Man, with the darker red and the metallic gold, and also the circular whatever the core thing is that he has in his chest. I can't remember what it's called, but that's in the Mark III set. It is the circle. It's not the triangle. Because, the triangle came much later. This is accurate to basically the first Iron Man movie, I guess you could say. This is a tribute to Iron Man 1. And that's fine. That's respectable. At the same time, there's not much of a playability with this set. You can't really do anything other than pose the arms and the head and the waist, it looks like. The legs seem to be stationary. The feet you don't do anything with. I'm seeing a gap in between the foot and the shin armor, or ankle armor, or whatever. This looks impressive, but at the same time, it's problematic. Again, with mostly the forehead part, and also looks like they're showing us his iron armpit for some reason. That's supposed to be covered up with, red armor. So, again, this is Lego. It's not going to be 100% accurate. It never will be. So this is good for the most part. It's just another dust collector for all I care. But the platform is simple and effective, and there's nothing really to compliment here. It's just or comment on. It's just a platform for the Iron Man to stand on. I imagine he is standing there, and it's also permanently mounted to the platform on both of his feet, with some sort of like, I want to imagine like a Technic pin sort of thing. And the Iron Man minifig is separate from the whole thing. It's just right off to the side. But you can obviously put that in between Iron Man's feet at the bottom of the on the platform. So this is good for the most part. I'm not going to spend the not 200, 130 fucking dollars on this. It's 130 fucking euros too. Price to part ratio is a 10 solid C. That might be considered as unfair because the price is the exact same for over here in America and over there in Europe. But considering, you know, how currency works and conflicting currency types, this price is unfair. It really isn't. I mean, it really is unfair. It really isn't fair at all. It is actual. It alienates fans of both Americans and Europeans because it's the same price, just different regions. Basically, some of us are paying more for I imagine the Europeans are paying more with this price than the Americans are, but this is a nightmare and a half waiting to happen. But the pre-generated price to part ratio is no help either. So, the Iron Man Mark III Collector's Edition, interesting. I question the plastic quality, of course, but yeah. Then the other set we have is Spider-Man Hero Figure. You're not calling it construction figure anymore, Lego. You're calling it Hero Figure? Make up your goddamn minds. So this is kind of like the Iron Man Mark III thing, except it's in an actual pose, and you can pose this fucking thing. Comes with a nice little Spider-Man off to the side, classic color scheme. Nice little stand for Spidey to stand on. But the big Spider-Man, which I imagine is just as tall as the Iron Man set. This is a massive improvement, at least look-wise, to the Spider-Man construction figure. This is a lot more accurate, has better proportions, it seems. Although, since it's Lego, it's still, the proportions are still wrong. The feet, goddamn, the feet are too flat towards the front. When you get to the when you get to the ankle, where the socket is, it starts to taper up slightly. So the rest going down flat, it's just flat. That's not accurate. That's not accurate at all. That's not how feet work, Lego. It just looks wrong. The hands have 4 fingers and a thumb, which is, I mean, yeah, so there's a spider web being launched, you know, from one hand, although it's incorrect a little bit. The printing quality is gonna be shit, most likely. Where I have a problem here is the head for Spidey looks a bit weird in a way, especially when you see towards the top and the back of the head like that. Right there, there's a line of what looks to be gray plastic showing through the red. It's Lego, so of course it's going to look wrong. Posability wise, I mean, this is going to be mostly stuck in this position, this weird, I guess you could say acrobatics position. I don't know what to call it. It's just Spider-Man looking like a hero as usual. This looks pretty good for the most part, but I prefer the Spider-Man construction figure that I have. Because A, it was cheaper, and B, it's way more fun to build. This doesn't look fun to build. It looks overly complicated. It looks like it's got too much going for it. And I just realized the arms, the upper and lower arms, are connected via what looks to be like a ball. Like some sort of ratchet joint type of ball fusion thing. That's not accurate at all. So really they pull in all the stops here to make this set inaccurate but also accurate. And they're doing all they can to really fuck themselves over, really. I mean, Lego, what the fuck? This set is problematic, definitely, yes. Between the head thing and the elbow joints and the just the overall proportions, there's some wrong proportions here, definitely. The lower arms are not thin enough. Again, it's Lego, so it's going to be wrong no matter what. Most of the time you're going to have Spidey in this position, and I mean, that's fine, you know, if you want that, that's fine. But at the same time, you know, it's a buildable action figure. You should be able to pose it however you so please. But if this is the main pose for it, there's no other poses, then part of me likes to think that there is something nefarious going on with this set. As if there are... the legs are stationary to... the other parts of him are stationary to where you can't necessarily pose every single bit of him, like his knee caps, like his knees, his hips, his ankles, his arms. I don't know. This part of me likes to think that this is not a fully posable figure. You can't get full posability in a lot of CCBS stuff, but because, you know, waist articulation, that's the problem. No waist articulation there, unless you are able to build in waist articulation, which I've done. But this brings me to, well, first of all, the price of this fucker. $100, that's better than the Iron Man one, but still not great. And it's still 100 euros. Europeans are essentially paying more. Basically, depending on the currency and the country, I guess, but... And the price to part ratio is even worse than the Iron Man one. It's 12.3C for both regions. Lego, stop pre-generating these false, garbage price to part ratios. These are unfair. These are 100% unfair. You're isolating fans. So, besides these two figures being released, the Iron Man one has actually been released, and the Spider-Man one is still yet to be released. Okay. I can't recommend the Spider-Man one. If you want Spider-Man, just go get the original construction figure from 4 years ago or so, whatever. If you want the Iron Man Mark III Collector's Edition, go ahead. Waste your fucking money. I'll laugh as your bank account goes subterranean. Now, here comes the big debate. The buildable construction figure out of system parts idea is slowly fading because it seems like with each passing wave of Lego sets being released at certain parts of the years, I'm not seeing any buildable construction figures besides this Spider-Man for this year. That Lego are, you know, just playing with at this point. They're not... it seems like they're... part of me worries that Lego is going to abandon the buildable action figure concept in the future, starting next year. And whether that revelation comes true or not, it definitely sends a bit of anxiety through me because I like buildable action figures. I am a construction builder, not a system builder, although I have system sets from Lego. I've shown you them, I've reviewed them. But construction is what I'm all about. Be it old construction or CCBS. Or SCCBS. I know that's not construction, but Still, it's a form of construction, but with system parts and mixel joints. I fear that LEGO may actually get rid of the buildable action figures because the buildable action figures aren't selling well enough, as far as I know. They're playing it safe with the Marvel and DC heroes and villains because, you know, Green Goblin. But, you know, those can only sell so many units before people start to wise up and realize, you know what? This isn't a proper LEGO set. A proper LEGO set would include minifigs, and it would be a big buildable play set type of thing. It would have mechs and whatnot. Yeah, LEGO are still going to do the mechs, even though they have an unhealthy obsession with them. Have you watched Neon Genesis Evangelion? Anyway. So the problem lies in the system and its relevance anymore. I still think buildable action figures are a relevant thing and they're viable for LEGO to continue on with them. But as evidenced by these two sets being released, the Iron Man Mark III Collector's Edition, which is not even that posable, it looks like. He can't even bend his knees, I don't think. And the Spider-Man Hero figure. If this is all we're getting this year, then chances are the buildable construction figure sub-theme of Marvel and DC sets will be abandoned because lack of sales. That's really all it comes down to. If they're not selling well enough, LEGO can't be, you know, what makes you think they want to continue with these? It's the same thing with the end of CCBS. CCBS was killed off as a system, destroyed the molds. After lower sales, the abysmal sales of G2, as well as declining sales of LEGO Star Wars CCBS sets. Those were the only CCBS sets that were selling in 2017 and 2018. Because those are the only ones that existed in 2017, 2018. And those sets were eventually canned because LEGO was noticing the declining sales in CCBS construction figure sets for 2017 and 2018. And so they figured they'd, you know, cut their losses and drop CCBS as a system. Which is why we didn't get the Rise of Skywalker sets. Fuck you, LEGO. So chances are LEGO will drop this buildable action figure concept because they're focusing mostly just on buildable play sets and little tiny mechs and big mechs and other crap that kids will most likely enjoy more than these buildable action figures. Kids don't care. Nowadays, kids don't care about action figures. They did back in like the 80s and onward. But ever since, like, in this modern age, no one gives a damn about action figures anymore. And LEGO not giving a damn about action figures anymore seems to be, well, it seems to be more noted than it was in the past, and it seems like LEGO is now just milking the concept for what it's worth, which at this point is nothing. And the Spider-Man figure will probably be the last one we get. Prove me wrong, LEGO. But I just don't think that the buildable action figure concept is going to last any longer in LEGO. It will live on in terms of like the mechs and stuff, as long as the mechs are being sold and whatnot, stuff like that. But at the same time, those can only go so far because, you know, you have small mechs, you have big mechs. The big mechs tend to offer more than the small mechs do. And I know the mechs are a different kind of buildable action figure sort of thing. What you want is something buildable action figure in the realm of something like this, like Pohatu G2 here. Well, I know this is a modification, but hey, Still, the point still stands. We might be losing the buildable action figures in the near future, and if LEGO does this, you're gonna have some upset people. You really are, LEGO. That's what you get for chasing the dollar signs all around. Because if these are not making LEGO enough money, then what's the point? Like, seriously, what's the point of them continuing on with the buildable action figures in the form of SCCBS? Because that's essentially what the Spider-Man figure is. It's SCCBS. It has system parts, but also has ball joints, and there's also ratchet joints that they've played around with previous buildable action figures, construction figures, like Iron Man, for example. It's just, it just feels more inevitable now that LEGO is going to take out the construction figures out of circulation and just stop producing them, because it seems like they just don't care anymore, and also that their target audience doesn't care anymore, you know? That's what I worry about, and it shouldn't be that way. You know, fans, as fans of LEGO, all of us should be, well, I say fans of LEGO, I mean fans of the toys at least, not the company itself. But we should be able to have these buildable action figures at least available to us on store shelves if we so choose to buy them. If we don't buy them, well, that contributes to the problem of, you know, LEGO just examining, you know, the whole market thing. It's like there's not much of a market anymore for buildable action figures, at least in the terms of LEGO themselves. They think that, you know, there's not much room anymore left for the buildable action figures. It's like if they tried to bring back Bionicle as a G3, as an SCCBS system, which I think is the safest way to go, it's not going to be sold. You'll have some of us fans who will be buying the Bionicle G3 SCCBS sets, but you won't see kids buying these, or their parents buying these, because they don't care. It's going to be a repeat of G2, basically, and the subpar sales of that. So it's a huge, gigantic mess, and I absolutely cannot fathom LEGO just, you know, continuing on with these buildable action figures. Their bread and butter is basically the system builds that are playsets and mechs. And other things, other sort of niche things, like head busts of Iron Man's, for example. There was one of those. Or like the giant helmets and other things. They still do Technic, obviously, that theme is still viable. But the buildable action figure idea is no longer viable in LEGO. Which is why you still have these bootleg companies doing that, and also fans themselves producing bootleg parts, be it of actual plastic or resin cast or 3D print. You know, we can make our own parts. LEGO doesn't need to do it themselves. In fact, LEGO probably just, I think LEGO would rather, you know, just let the fans do what they want in terms of, you know, getting parts. But at the same time, part of me likes to think that LEGO is going to, you know, try and crack down on all these bootleg parts being distributed by folks like Rothenac or whatnot, or not Rothenac. Well, the people like that who design and mold these parts on Thingiverse and whatnot and Shapeways. Yeah, LEGO is going to probably get mad if that keeps going, because, you know, as fans supply these parts for us to make mocks with, the further down in the future we see this, the LEGO group will probably start to crack down on it, and will have these individuals, you know, force them to stop producing these parts, because they'll probably cite copyright infringement. Because that's just crazy. It really is. That's the future I worry about. That's what I worry about when it comes to Lego and their abuse of power as a corporation, you know? They're going to try and stop all these parts, these bootleg parts of parts that the Lego doesn't even care about themselves anymore to make. They don't make these parts anymore, so why should anyone else be able to do it? That's what they're thinking. So it's abysmal. It really is abysmal. And to be honest, at that point, fans just need to fight back. You know? Fight back and keep producing the parts. At the same time, I don't think Lego would go as far as to, you know, try and, you know, get these individuals in trouble for making parts that don't exist anymore in terms of Lego's specs and whatnot. It's a mess. It really is a mess, and my head's a mess right now, so I'm just gonna stop. But it's a massive pain in the balls, pain in the scrotum, and I absolutely hate this. Please ignore the dogs. I really am worried that the buildable construction figures will be taken out of circulation, and Lego will just stop doing that and instead focus on the system builds and other shit, you know, the playsets and mechs and busts and other stupid shit. At this point, there's just no market for buildable construction figures. Leave that to the bootleg companies. Now, as time goes on and more bootleg companies get, you know, shut down, and like what happened in China at one point, Lego cracks down on all the bootleg companies, then our options will be limited. Our options will be horribly limited to just Lego themselves. That's not okay. It really isn't okay. Lego they're a greedy corporation at this point. They will do anything, regardless if it's legal or not, to limit our options to it's just them producing parts and whatnot for us to build with. They are not nice anymore. They are not trying to be nice. It's just a fluke that we're getting this fucking Tahoe minifig. And the past two offerings of Tahoe that they made were also flukes. I worry tremendously about the future of Lego, because it seems like as they discontinue certain things, certain themes and certain ideas and concepts, that the future for Lego as a company starts to look a bit bleak, because it's like they're part of me likes to think that their golden years are behind them, and that they are, you know, just doing things just because they can. Not because, you know, they want to cater towards the fan base or any fan base that they have. They're just doing things simply to do them, really. Simply for profit. And that's all there is to it. It's just, you know, they're just doing things just for monetary gain, and they're just being terrible about it, too. So, at the end of the day, Lego are just gonna keep putting themselves down under into the grave. They've got like both feet in the grave at this point, in my opinion, and they're still going to, you know, continue their fall from grace. They're just they are pissing me off, and rightfully so. Guaranteed they'll piss other people off, because yeah. So Well, there you go. That's my long-ass rant video about that. And these two construction figures. And guaranteed they will be, I don't know if we're gonna get another set or not, but whatever, you know? So, that's it. What do you think about all this? Stay tuned for more videos. I'm sorry about the dogs. And, you know, nothing I can do about that. Stay tuned for more videos. I am TheZOMBIEJ. I'll see you folks there. Have a good fucking day, and peace.